Hello students, welcome to today's video lesson, where we shall discuss an interesting excerpt from a travelogue by Nick Middleton titled Silk Road. Before we begin with this interesting account, let us familiarize ourselves with the writer. Nick Middleton is a British geographer born in London in the year 1960. He has travelled to over 50 countries and authored several books in the process. Some of his books are Atlas of Environmental Issues, Atlas of World Issues, Desertification and Extremes Along the Silk Road, Adventures of the World's Oldest Superhighway. The part of the travelogue that we are going to discuss today has been taken from the book Extremes Along the Silk Road, Adventures of the World's Oldest Superhighway. The narrator left Ravu on a sunny, clear sky day, along with Daniel and the two drivers Satan. He was headed towards Mount Kailash to complete the Kora and was given a drogba by Lamo. A drogba is a long-sleeved sheepskin coat worn in extremely cold places. Kora is both a type of pilgrimage and meditative practice in the Tibetan Buddhist religion. It involves the circumambulation around a sacred site or object called the Ne. After taking a shortcut to get off the Changtang, which is a part of the high-altitude Tibetan plateau, Satan took a route along the southwest direction, which led directly towards Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash, located in Tibet, is considered sacred in four religions: Bon, Buddhism, Jainism and Hinduism. The route to Kailash involved crossing a number of high mountain passes. However, Satan assured the narrator that it would be no problem as long as there was no snow. The narrator passed through the gently rolling hills of Ravu. The shortcut took them across the vast open plains with gazelles gently grazing on arid pastures. Further along, when the plains became stony, they noticed a herd of wild ass. Satan noticed the dust from afar and announced the arrival of Kayang, or Tibetan wild ass. The herd galloped in large masses and exquisite formations. Slowly, as it started to get hilly once again, the narrator and his companions passed shepherds tending to their flocks in their drogbas. Here, the drogbas are personified and given human attributes to refer to the shepherds wearing the drogbas. These shepherds consisted of both men and women. Some stared at the narrator's car and some waved as the car sailed across a flood of sheep. They passed solitary nomad tents by Tibetan mastiffs, which were huge black guard dogs that kept trespassers off their masters' properties. Tibetan mastiffs were popular in China's imperial courts as hunting dogs and were brought along the Silk Road in ancient times as a tribute from Tibet. The narrator and his companions could soon see the snow-capped mountains in the horizon. They entered a valley where the river was wide and mostly clogged with ice. The valley closed in as the narrator's car gradually gained height. The turns got sharper and the road bumpier. They continued their climb with Satan driving in third gear. They crossed big rocks with lichens on them and remains of snow on the underside. The narrator felt the pressure of high altitude and held his nose to snort and clear them. Soon, Satan stopped the car abruptly and jumped out of his seat, followed by Daniel, who explained the reason to the narrator. The way ahead was covered by snow, almost a stretch of 15 meters. The sides too were covered with snow and they were left with no option but to cross through the snow-covered stretch. So, they needed to get out of the car and check out the snow for themselves. The narrator got out of the car as he watched Satan check the sturdiness of the snow by slithering on it and stamping on it from time to time. They were at 5,210 meters above sea level. It was Daniel who pointed out that the top icy layer could prove fatal as tires might slip and turn the car over. Seeing no way around the patch of snow that covered the road, the three started to spread handfuls of dirt on the snow to increase the friction of the otherwise smooth and slippery surface. Satan drove alone on the icy stretch, covered with dirt without apparent difficulty, as Daniel and the narrator followed on foot. They were met with the same situation a little ahead, and this time Satan drove around the snow along the side slopes, which were steep and studded with large rocks. Soon they were climbing at 5,400 meters above sea level in bright sunshine. The narrator's head began to throb painfully, and he had to gulp down large amounts of water to help his rapid ascent along the mountain road. This condition is called altitude sickness, when our body suffers from painful symptoms after ascending a great height at very rapid pace. They reached the top of the pass at 5,515 meters. They noticed a large cairn of rocks adorned with white silk scarves and ragged prayer flags. A cairn is a man-made pile of stones built as landmark. The three of them took one round each in clockwise direction around the cairn. Satan checked the tires of his vehicle, stopped at the petrol tank and unscrewed the top, which emitted a loud hiss. This was a phenomena caused by the low atmospheric pressure causing the expansion of the fuel. Soon they drove down the other side of the pass, and at 2 p.m. they stopped for lunch, consisting of hot noodles. They ate at a long canvas tent, which was a part of a work camp beside a dry saltwater lake. The plateau region is pockmarked with salt flats, which are large expanses of the ground covered with salt, and brackish lakes which consist of salt water and fresh water mixed together. These are considered the last remains of the Tethys Ocean, which is believed to have once bordered Tibet, before the great continental collision lifted it upward. This was a busy area, as large truck with men in long sheepskin coats and salt-encrusted boots trudged back and forth with pickaxes and shovels. A number of blue trucks emerged laden with piles of salt. By late afternoon, the party of three had reached the small town of Hor, back on the east-west highway that followed the old trade route from Lhasa to Kashmir. From there, Daniel found a ride to Lhasa, and Satan and the narrator bade him goodbye outside a tire repair shop. Satan's car had suffered 2 punctures, and he wanted them fixed as he had no spare tires left. According to the narrator, Hor was a grim, miserable place. There was no vegetation, just rocks and dust scattered with years of accumulated refuse. The narrator found this unfortunate, as the town of Hor was situated on the banks of Lake Mansarovar. Lake Mansarovar is the most respected water body in Tibet. Ancient Hindu and Buddhist cosmology pinpoints the lake as a source of 4 great Indian rivers: the Indus, the Ganges, the Satluj and the Brahmaputra. However, only the Satluj flows from the lake. So students, in the first part of this video, this is where we stop. Like the author, we shall take a short break and see you with the rest of the lesson in the last part of the video very soon. Till then, goodbye.